Hey guys, what up? Total Control 871. I wanted to chime in one more time today on the Total Control channel and hopefully do my bit for Gay Pride Month. God knows Gay Pride Month has been completely annihilated. It fell victim to the fake pandemic. Apparently, the only way that LGBTQ people are allowed to congregate en masse is if they put up the facade, whether it is earnestly believed or just something that they wanted, that they had to put on a facade of Black Lives Matter. Now, of course, I am a supporter of Black Lives Matter and a supporter of LGBTQ community. I am both black and gay. However, I do not support the fake pandemic. It absolutely gutted me to see gay pride annihilated the way it was this month. So on this last day of June, on this last day of Gay Pride, I wanted to do my bit. I suppose this is a little bit of a confessional episode. Occasionally I'll do a confessional episode. This is the award-winning short film, James. For the purposes of this conversation, I will refer to the story that I'm going to give you after we watch this tidbit. I'll refer to my person as James, and let's give a listen. Oh shit. I swear. Complete junk. Sorry guys, I did have it queued up.
Is everything okay? Well, I know you're not here to talk about your coursework. What's troubling you?
Well, I am having trouble with my coursework. I can't work at home.
Well, it's important to have a comfortable working environment. Plus, it's a good idea to have a revision timetable. But you need to find time to relax.
It's just... At home, I don't get much peace. My parents...
I understand. And sometimes relationships can be difficult. Have you tried talking to them?
It's difficult. I need to talk to someone who understands.
Understands.
I think I might be gay. You weren't expecting that, were you?
Actually, I was. It takes a lot of courage to tell someone what you just told me. You're very brave.
It feels so stupid. I'm sorry. You're the only one I've told. I didn't know who else.
It's okay, James. You've done the right thing. But I wouldn't go telling anyone else. It could get difficult. I remember years ago and other people here having an awful time for that reason.
I don't care about that. Don't have any friends here anyway. Wouldn't make a difference.
You have friends. I've seen you with pupils in my class.
They're just classmates. You're my friend.
James, you misunderstand. I can't do anything for you. I mean, I can listen, but as your teacher, I can't give you any advice.
Sir,
Perhaps it would be best if you speak to the school counsellor.
I don't need a counselor.
If you don't want that, there are helplines and church groups. I mean, I can get you phone numbers, but I can't do anything else for you.
Can't do anything else for you. James is absolutely gutted. He was reaching out. My cooking oil's on the fire, warming up, getting ready for dinner tonight. So I am going to make this very short. For the purposes of this conversation, I will refer to these two very young, well, they were very young back then, young men, James and John, during one of my security jobs at retail, I'll put it like that. And if there are some people out there who know me which job I'm speaking of, it was one of the worst kept secrets in the entire store. Everybody knew that John, or yeah, I guess I'll call the other one John. John was very much indeed secretly, yet not so secretly, in love with James, and it was young love, and a lot of us were quietly rooting for the whole thing. However, one particular Sunday, buses tend to, well, they don't tend to, they do stop quite early on a Sunday, and this particular day, James, to this day, I don't think I can quite remember if I had asked him if I had missed my last bus or if he had just simply offered to give me a ride. I really can't remember the point. I think he did. I think he went out of his way, which is kind of the whole point of what I'm talking about today. He went out of his way to give me a ride. I don't think I did need a ride, but he went out of his way to give me a ride to my room rental. I had been renting a room for several years at this one particular place, and so he's driving me home. I mean, obviously, if he's driving, he's not like James's young age. He was a young man, I don't know, 18 maybe. Drives me home, and he's hemming and hawing in his conversation. I could tell that he wanted to talk about something, but he just didn't really know how to articulate it or how to get around to saying it. As we pulled up to the house where I was renting a room, he asked, "Which room is yours?" And mine was located in the front of the house upstairs. I'm up there, and he's like, that's your room up there? And I'm like, yeah. At this point, I'm feeling for my backpack and making sure I got everything before I get out and well, the long story short there was that to this day, I couldn't escape the feeling that James very much indeed wanted to come upstairs to my room and finish the conversation. I don't flatter myself. I don't think it was for me. I was indeed openly gay. I've been openly gay for a very long time when I came to this job, and I can't help but wonder, was he seeking out the counsel of an older gay man such as myself? In case you couldn't figure out, when the teacher spoke about students years ago having difficulty, yes, he was speaking about himself. James's gaydar was not malfunctioning. He knew he had gotten it right reaching out to this teacher. Um, I really didn't know how to talk to, my James there in the car. I was security. Um, I have to, number one, think about myself. Number two, think about the company that I'm working for. It's not just simply the merchandise on the shelf, but also the liability of the lawsuit. Something Brosnan security failed epically at Walmart. I couldn't put my employer in jeopardy with a ridiculous lawsuit. And more than that, I couldn't put myself in that kind of a jeopardy. Now, he he was legal. It wouldn't have been like a... But if anybody out there in, be it police or security, you already know what I'm talking about. When people get in trouble, the first thing they're going to cry is assault of... It could have been days ago, weeks ago, years ago. Suddenly, if James had been arrested, and God forbid if I had been the loss prevention officer that arrested him for theft, can you imagine the remixed version of, because it's a bedroom, it's a rented bedroom, he had me, he coerced me into coming up to his bedroom, and I can describe his bedroom in detail. Okay? So I say all that to simply say that I had to protect myself, number one, and number two, my employer, from that kind of liability. And I kind of got off track on that train of thought there. I'm sorry. More to the point, because I don't think that he was trying to angle anything illicit or wrong or nefarious. I do believe that he was just simply... I guess he was the cue. He was the questioning. I think he knew that John was in love with him, and I think he wanted advice as to how he should proceed. I didn't know what to tell him. I definitely wasn't going to invite him up to my bedroom, put myself in that kind of position, as I've already discussed. And honestly, even more than liability, I'm nobody's father. I don't know how to, I know how strange, right? I'm a guy that's got, technically I think I have 9 other siblings. And, I felt like I've been an only child. My sister and we've lived the bulk of our lives separated and apart. I don't think I would know how to talk to him. You guys have heard me discuss how children frighten me, unnerve me. I don't know what to make of them. I am saying this for a particular reason. It hasn't been in the news for a long time, and I'm kind of hoping that it does die. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be talking. Maybe I shouldn't be Maybe I shouldn't be talking about it or resurrecting it. But there was talk of like how you have Black history in school, gay sex ed. Which if you would have to watch this, and I'm going to link it, you'd have to watch the whole thing to see how gay sex ed would factor into what I'm talking about here today. Oh my God. I am just sitting here envisioning the horror, because there have been people who have been pushing very hard for gay sex ed in school, and in sex ed, in case you didn't know, it does start in elementary. I know, wild, right? It's like fifth grade is when it starts. And, oh my God. It's like it hasn't happened to me, and just thinking about it is enough to give me a fucking PTSD panic attack. My fifth grade teacher, Miss Sakini. Oh my God. I could just imagine Miss Sakini walking us through gay sexual intercourse. Without going off into a whole separate story, there was another very young gay man, gay young man, about 18, approached me, and he asked me about how he should go about anal sex for the first time with his boyfriend. It fucking blew my mind. I mean, I'm there, I'm on the sales floor, I'm in security uniform, and because I always try to have an open door policy with the employees that they can always come to security. I just didn't think it was going to be for that. I kept it cool. Don't make dude feel weirded out. So I can take that as advice when people do come to you. Do your best to not make them feel weirded out. For those of you who are straight out there, should you have somebody of the same sex come to you and express admiration, don't make it weird. Don't weird them out. Of course, make your position known that thank you, flattered, I'm straight. Anyway, I gotta hurry up and get to my cooking oil. I sent my James on his way. I do feel guilty. Maybe every bit as guilty as our teacher. He had questions, and I honestly don't know if I would be able to answer them or not. I can tell you that it would have killed me if in fifth grade, Sister Seamus, Miss Sakini, in this Catholic school, of course their arm would have to be twisted by some sort of federal law to force them to talk about very intimate things of gay sex ed. And the problem would be is that not every gay man does everything. So it's and God forbid, if indeed I was the only gay little boy there in fifth grade, in that fifth grade class, God, I could just imagine all of my classmates kind of like edging backwards as Miss Sakini goes to talk about the graphic details of gay sex, and they're, dude, is that you? Is that what you do? And well, I suppose number one, I'm in fifth grade. I don't do anything with anybody, at least not yet. And of course, with age comes maturity, and then comes your preferences and the things that you do and don't like. A really good example of that, it's been viewed like a gajillion times. The Domino's on like porn, all different porn sites, Pornhub, everywhere. The Domino's pizza guy who everybody thinks is like the luckiest guy, hot chick. She just strips naked and she gives him a blowjob right there. You've probably seen it. But what I found very interesting, psychologically interesting in that encounter was she was very much indeed in control of that situation. She told him what she wanted, what she didn't want, where he could touch her and where he could not touch her. She did not want to kiss him, despite the fact of giving him a blowjob to the point of climax. I'm trying not to be, too graphic here, but you know what I'm saying. And I don't know any other way of saying it. Okay, I'm not going to pussyfoot around it, but yes, apparently she was okay with swallowing his semen. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying, because I know a lot of men they look at women differently for doing that. That's a whole different thing I could talk about. This woman had her yes no list ready for when this pizza guy arrived. So you can't just simply make a one size fits all gay sex ed for, it's something that we LGBTs, it just simply comes with age and maturity, I guess. With that being said, though, our award-winning short film here, they make a very good point, and please, if you do watch it to the ending, because the ending will absolutely rip your guts out. And yeah, it does make you go back and forth, teeter-totter over whether or not there should be gay sex ed or not for the children that have, for those gay children that have so many questions. And to my James, if by some chance you're out there and you're watching this, I am so sorry I didn't have the answers that you were looking for. I guess maybe I was still growing myself. All right, people, please do not surrender your rights. I know a lot of people right now are thinking that it's not that big of a deal, that gay pride was gutted and that its parades were all systematically canceled, while somehow being allowed to attend Black Lives Matter protests, which were even bigger and larger. So remember, when the atrocities come before you, if you have surrendered your First Amendment rights to assemble, if you are trusting a government entity, if you are trusting our shattered glass Democrats to tell you when it's okay to assemble, then that trust is greatly misplaced. Total Control 871.